used in primary schools. I'm sometimes asked by very young children whether I'm a Victorian. Not quite. And here's an example of a very old toy. I don't know whether it was Victorian or not. It's certainly a vintage or retro toy. It's a spring woodpecker. So here's how to make it. You need some 2mm welding rod. It is available from my supply service, and we're going to tap this into a base. Now to make it a bit easier to glue it on, I'm just going to hammer it into this pulley here. Go. And now I can glue that down onto, it could be a block of wood, something quite heavy, or this large wheel. Just going to glue that down. Now the woodpecker works because it's on a spring, a small spring, and as it oscillates, the friction builds up and then suddenly releases, so it moves down in jerks. So we're going to make our own spring out of ordinary single strand electrical wire that we use in primary schools. It's also available from our shop, and I'm going to strip the PVC coating off of a wire stripper. I have to do this quite carefully. You have to be careful not to cut through all of the wire. This piece is about 15 centimetres long. Doesn't have to be exactly 15 centimetres. And then I'm going to wind it around the metal rod to make a spring. So we wind it round. This is only copper wire with a tin coating, so it's fairly soft. There we are. I'm told that you can make these using the spring inside a biro pen. So if you have one of those handy, it's worth trying. So there we are. I don't know if you can see, I've made a spring here, and I'm just going to cut off the ends. I don't know if I've got some cutters handy. I wonder if the scissors will cut through. Yes, they will. Just going to cut the ends off, so we've got a small spring here. Now the slider that slides down is a piece of wooden dowel. You can get wooden dowel. This is about 60mm diameter. The diameter is not too important as long as it's roughly this size, and you can get dowel like this from your local DIY store. And I've drilled a hole through it with a 2.5mm drill, so the hole needs to be slightly bigger than the 2mm rod. That is quite important. If it's much bigger, it won't work, and it should slide fairly easily up and down the metal rod. I know primary schools quite often don't have drills, but I'm sure you could find somebody who would make that for you. Next we get the spring, and I'm just going to glue the spring to the side of the wooden dowel with a hot glue gun. Just going to glue that on like that and wait 10 seconds to let that dry. And then when that's dry, we need to have something heavy on the end. The woodpecker itself, a piece of paper, wouldn't be heavy enough, so I'm going to glue a wooden wheel onto the end of the spring. I hope I'm not rushing this. There is just a little bit of spring sticking out that I don't need. Try and cut that off. There we go. And I'm going to glue the wheel on like that, so it's sideways on. So a blob of glue on the edge of the wheel.